Welcome to SOISU P.O.V. This is a podcast in which our effort is to educate you and bring you all the exciting and important information that you require in your home building process. Today we have a very fantastic topic. Actually, it's a buzzword. It's something that everyone is doing today, or everyone at least aspires to do today, is furniture shopping in China or furniture tourism. Well, absolutely, it's an amazing idea. You can pair your holiday with shopping furniture and you get great discounts. Now, it's important for us to understand if all that is said about furniture tourism to China or any other country is true or false, from your discounts to designs to variety to the logistics and everything. And to give you a great perspective, we have a very, very experienced and renowned architect, Mr. Jayesh Shah, who is a principal architect at Jayesh Shah Associates in Mumbai, and we've been working with him for past 2 years. And I'll tell you, he is one of the few architects with whom we have seen the customers have been extremely happy and satisfied with his creativity, execution, and delivery. So, Jayesh Bhai, thank you so much for joining us in this podcast. And let me straight away ask you that what are your thoughts on this furniture tourism? Have you been traveling a lot to source furniture?
Hi, Rohan. Thank you for having us here on your podcast. A pleasure to be here. Yes, to answer your question, when a client comes to us with his space in terms of an office, commercial, retail, whatever it is, we try and sort of figure out we get a good understanding of what he's looking for in terms of quality, in terms of budget. We have to keep in mind the timelines, the based on all these factors, we come up with we suggest to him whether ordering it locally, ordering from China, ordering it from Italy, or wherever the case may be. So we have done quite a few trips to China to source out furniture for residences, for bungalows, for villas, etc. So it's been a good ride in the sense that taking them there, showing them around. Obviously, the variety and the kind of number of shops or the number of spaces that you can see there is, unbelievable. So of course, it gives you a good heads up on what can be done in terms of indoor, outdoor accessories, lights, the whole gamut you can literally do from there. So yes, we've done quite a few shopping trips from there. Having said that, I also guide the clients that whether a trip there makes sense, in the sense that end of the day, I feel that the project will dictate how you approach the sourcing, whether you do it from here through agents from here through China, or you go physically there and see it. So that it requires a bit of understanding the client brief, the project profile, and then giving a suggestion on how to take it forward.
Wonderful. So, interesting to that thought, I recently met one of my old customers who was making a new home and they had a trip to Foshan. And one thing keeps coming across to me with people who have already visited. There's two different viewpoints: people who have not visited and
Yes.
people who have visited.
Yes.
What people who have already visited share it with us is that absolutely the amount of variety is endless. It is a sea.
Yes.
But at the same time, what it does is it brings design fatigue. It confuses you to the core, means ye lu, ya wo lu, ya, this is better, or, some other, because it's a vast sea. At the same time, what also they noticed is that there is no real saving when you add up the landed cost to Bombay.
Sure.
It's not the 30-40% that is promised, maybe 10% on some of the aspects that you might be able to save, and that also increasingly is diminishing because of the increased amount of fees that the logistic companies and taxations that are coming in. So at the same time, it comes at par. So coming to a question for you is that who should actually plan to visit? You said that there are villa buyers,
Yes.
and there are residential home buyers.
Yes.
And you are also correct, because an agent who works there, he said that we are only interested to deal with customers who want to source everything, and everything means not furniture. It means your flooring, your doors, your windows, your sanitary ware, because that creates a larger BOQ.
Right.
And then that BOQ helps you. So something like that is not very easy to do in Bombay because the quantity is very small. In a 1,000-2,000 square feet home, hardly we are going to have a volume, and which in case of villas may be a different story. So what are your thoughts when it comes to what size of scope of work you should have to consider China or any other country for that.
Sure, sure. So this has been always a debate with the client, who will come and tell us that, I've heard so and so, my friend or my neighbor or XYZ going there and picking up something that's such a good discount and all. But we try and guide them that, end of the day, the scale of your what you're planning to purchase or the amount that you're planning to purchase, is it a single home, is it just a small villa or something? Then really you have to check and see whether the logistics, the costing, traveling, XYZ, all that adds up to any saving or not.
Correct.
So my suggestion is always that you see the total volume of purchase that you're going to do. Versus how many days you're spending there. And there is no guarantee, honestly, that at the end of the day, after having spent 5 days at this mall where you've seen 50 designs and thousands of options, whether you're confused or whether you've come back with even less clarity about what you want. So my suggestion is always, if you have a very large enough volume, where we're doing projects where, like a dharamshala, where you're repeating 100 rooms,
Sure.
or you're doing a hotel, or you're doing something where there's a repeat, there is a volume where there is some value in going all the way there, and you have a whole package. It's not just 40 pieces of furniture that you're going to buy. You're going to buy a whole set of things around it: your furniture, accessories, your lights, your sanitary ware, tiles, civil items, maybe even MEP items. You never know. So depending on the whole, what exactly are you looking to finally gain from your trip there? So that, I think, is a discussion to be had with the client or with their sourcing person, to see whether it's worth your while to really spend those 4 5 days there, or whatever it is, to go there and get that value of work. So my suggestion is always for a single home, apartment, a small apartment, 3 4,000 square feet. I don't know whether it's worth going there. I would honestly suggest that you can do it very easily sitting from here itself. But if it's a large space, larger volume, you're going for repeat things where same design has to be repeated 100 times, 10 times, there's shorter lead times, you want all consistent quality, then yes, you take a trip and you source out everything, check out everything, see the finish, see the maybe a couple of options in terms of manufacturers, and then take a call whether you are wanting to do that directly.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, adding to this is one more interesting thing that I observe. A lot of people who visit China, one, so they plan a very short trip, 5 6 days. Number one, it's impossible to see China in 5 6 days because the amount of walking you have to do on the first 2 days itself, it's going to take a toll. But the interesting point is, on an average, if a family visits China for tourism, they end up spending 3 to 4 lakh rupees considering logistics, travel, stay, food, blah, blah, blah. Now, what happens is, in these 5 6 days, when you are exposed to so many designs and when you have to source so many things, if you are not able to make decision on time, by the end of trip, you feel compelled or pressured to buy
decide
things
something, and
because you're going to lose 3 4 lakh rupees that you spent traveling there. And once you're back, it's going to be very hard for you to communicate or verify or authenticate whatever you have selected. So, my question to you is that, do you see people when they go there are going unplanned and without any specific purpose? Like, I know you go with a very specific mindset. You really know where you have to visit,
yes,
and you know what vendors you need to visit and not go around. But for a normal person, today a lot of fly-by-night new agents are
you're
encouraging.
talking about people or clients who are going directly without a designer in place,
Correct.
or they're going directly on their own,
Or with
then
very fresh people who have not yet understood how
experience of
China works.
sourcing out, right?
See, China has been our reality for a decade
Many
now.
years,
It's not a new phenomenon of people going to China. In fact, after COVID, when we were promoting Chinese products, we were called anti-national to an extent.
Right.
And now the entire situation is flipped. What has changed is that there have been a lot of small players or agents who have found this as a very good arbitrage opportunity. And as it does not require a lot of capital, right?
Right.
Or infrastructure. Like, your practice has taken years to build your reputation, your team, your infrastructure. For us, the showroom, the inventory. But for them. So what I mean to ask you is that, do people face a lot of pressure when they actually visit China to make the purchase there and then?
Yes, I mean that is a reality. So very often we've gone with clients, and obviously we go with a whole list of requirements, drawings, sizes, specifications, everything. But China being China, once you throw the client out there and they see these houses of shop at Louvre or wherever it is that you take them, they get quite dazzled, and they are sort of taken up by the choice and the options and the pricing or the qualities and everything. So if there's a strong designer with them, I mean, that's of course an absolute necessity. You just can't go on your own or with a fresh person, because you will be totally lost. You will not be able to make a decision, because one is to decide, one is to see everything, honestly. First is to see everything, then is to sort of shortlist, then is to decide, then is to place an order, then is to select the finishes, and then actually finish that thing before leaving from there. That's the whole thing. I mean, coming back and doing anything, very, very difficult to communicate back, and you have to finish off most of your things while you're there itself. So it's quite a thing. You have to really steer the client that every morning that this is focus on this, focus on that, please don't get distracted by this we have to finish this today or that today, or going to the light city, then you have to finish these lights or whatever. So we of course have to be a very strong hold on what they are doing. But yeah, it's happened once in a while where we've gone and then it's been like, oh, we like it, not like it. We've come back, and then we said, no, maybe we'll try some other option or whatever. So it's quite a touch and go. But we always hope that, having spent 5 days there and all of that, a few days there and taking the effort of gathering everybody and going there, that we try and make the choice and try and do that. But there is a fair amount, especially for a new client who's just, started this designing journey or for their house or whatever. Many clients now over the years, we've done second homes, third homes, fourth homes for them. So
Wow.
we know what their taste is. We know how fast they move, how fast they will be able to take decisions. So it's easy for us to make a choice. Let's go with them and do this, or not go with them and do this. But it's a fresh client. He's also going for the first time. You are working with them for the first time. It can be a touch and go. I mean, it could be a miss where you just come back and say that, no, I mean, I'm not sure whether, I'm liking, not liking, or they're totally confused, or they want to then explore options within India or something else, or hire better options from it, whatever. So it is a little bit of a touch and go. So a lot depends on the actual client, how able you are to steer them in the right direction, give them the guidance, and handhold them through that decision-making process that, go with this, go with that. And try and make the best of it. That's what we would endeavor to do.
Absolutely. Now, so with this, I would also like you to, emphasize on the design aspect of the product itself, right? So most of my experience is more with furniture. And one thing I know, I think one myth that people have is that customization China में भी होता है. Actually, it's a myth. Customization खाली India में होता है. There is no rampant of customization like India anywhere else.
You're right.
No one will even discuss with you, even if you're paying a 50 lakh rupee sofa to Visionaire or a 20 lakh rupee Minotti.
They are
The
not-
only thing you're going to get is fabric and
color.
their modular size options.
Absolutely.
You're not going to get to change anything. Now, when people go to China and when the designs, elaborate designs that we have seen, all these factories, they also have standard designs.
Right.
Now, most of designs are attuned to European markets, UAE markets, and American markets, or tier 2 markets of India, where the space and the layouts have the space to accommodate a 14 feet L shape or a 10-seater dining table, all those luxury items. But when you need to buy it for a flat in Bombay, then you need to customize the design. So, what are your thoughts? What is your experience been that how Mumbai compatible furniture or a city compatible furniture you're able to find when you go to China for sourcing?
So if you're going there as first of all, Bombay houses are a little bit animal of their own. Their kind of spacing, the kind of we have to make use of every inch, especially a Bombay, South Bombay or whatever Bombay house that we usually are associated with. There are challenges in terms of spacing. We try to make the best of the space. We try and create the best layout possible with that. And then in that, we want to have a aspect of design, aesthetics, all of that put together. So what we try and do is we try and take a call in terms of if the layout or the space is irregular, if it is, not shaped very evenly, then we try and customize the furniture.
Sure.
If, a standard furniture would not fit there, I would take the effort of customizing whatever. But having said that, if it is a pretty straightforward layout, then we would try and go with the standard design as much as possible. Just that your standard designs would have quite a few advantages in terms of costing. You would know exactly what it would cost you. It would be faster lead times. It would have some design maturity because those standard items must have been made again and again and again, and they've sort of perfected the art of that
Absolutely.
particular piece. They must have done all the QC research, hardware, etc., and made it so that it functions to the best.
Correct.
Also, if you're working with timelines, if you're working with very strong budgeting, then to know the price of the piece, to know how long it will take to reach us, to have that information will help us to decide in whether how much of customization should I do, or should I go with a standard item or whatever. So it's a little mix of all these decisions. What is the profile of the client? What is the what is his appetite for maintenance? What is his project timelines, budgeting? So all based on all this, we would then decide how much to customize, how much maybe it will be hybrid, maybe part customization, part standard items. Also, having a standard item is just a little easier because then your quality checks, all that is taken care of. After sales is sort of in place. We know that having bought a standard item off the shelf, you will not have faced a problem, hopefully, of quality or those kind of issues. Also, I have had over the years now, we've had done clients where we're doing the second home or third home. So if you bought some nice piece of furniture, we'd like to reuse it again in the next piece. Now, if it's very sort of specific to that particular place, then difficult to transport it and use it in another setting. So if it is a sort of a standardized design, it's easy to reuse. It's easy to reconfigure it in another setting, in a newer space. They've upgraded their place or whatever. So some good pieces we can always reuse. That's the idea. So it's a mix of both. Also, what design language is the client asking, or have we arrived at some conclusion? There's a specific design language that you're looking at, something that is very one-off kind of a thing where standard item may not work, standard furniture piece may not work, or standard light, something that really requires one focal point or an accent piece or something. And of course, those pieces are now you have to then customize it or get it ordered or made to order or whatever. So our decisions are based largely on the client, on the site, timelines, budget, all of it put together. Then we decide which route we are following.
Sure. So with this, I would like to ask you that what do you think is the level of risk with customization in China? Right. So because see today, sir, the problem customization is actually a very vague definition. What's
I
defined?
was just trying to ask you, what do you mean by customization? Just a color change or just the
So world over, the global practice is that we give a fabric option and then we have 2 to 3 days. Like in a bed, you have a 1.8 mattress or you have a 1.5 mattress, and then plus minus what if the design is bulkier or smaller. Now that's a normal customization which is required.
Right.
What has started happening is we are doing extreme bespoke customization, wherein what we are saying is that let's take a sedan and to fit it in my house, we'll cut it by 1.5 feet, which does not keep it as a sedan, it becomes a hatchback. And then what it does is that when the client has seen all the European fancy pictures, because they are the same pictures across the board with everyone. When the product is actually delivered without inspection for some reason, then there is a extreme mismatch between the expectation and reality of a client, which creates unpleasant situation at the handover or the delivery phase. So what I mean to ask you is that when someone एक तो चाइना से ले ले, उसके ऊपर चाइना में कस्टम करा रहे, उसके ऊपर भी I'll tell you, even today, we being in business for 10 years, and I'm sure even you being in business, we can never actually identify who is actually making your product.
Yes.
Because there are so many small factories, even the larger factories outsource it to other places, and where in this scenario, what we have seen is inspection is a very big issue. Even after giving them shop floor drawings, even after giving them the specs, a lot of time we have seen that the furniture was wrongly sized, the finish was not as per there, so there were some important elements missed.
Right.
And since they were smaller elements which didn't come out in photo inspection, once they reach in India, there's nothing. You're done. There's nothing you can do.
No, so my suggestion with, my advice to any client would be to, as far as customization, it's very difficult to imagine that size and scale of a product that you have seen in a picture or whatever, and then you suddenly just cut down some proportion or cut off a size or something, how it will actually turn out. So it's a big risk that you're taking. So I would strongly advise not to do this sort of extreme customization.
Sure.
Because what you have liked in that product may literally get diluted or not remain only when you sort of cut off its head and tail and whatever. So what remains is a real surprise when you will get it. Also, these products, I think, are made so that they look in a certain way, they perform in a certain way, they have a certain proportion, height, length. The minute you start fiddling with all of that, you are just wasting the time of the designer who's spent hours perfecting the
Correct.
proportions and
Correct.
all, and he's really worked towards getting it all so that it looks, functions properly. I mean, it's a waste of time according to me. So I would, having liked a particular design, you can go with that. I mean, always you'll get options in your preferred size or your preferred option in terms of space or whatever that you have. You should explore those rather than trying and heavily modifying a preset design which you have liked in the first place. Then I don't know whether it will work in the new scenario. So this is, I mean, very specific to that particular product or the particular item you're talking about. But yes, always anything that you modify, even I have to think when we change even the color or even change from fabric to leather or leather to fabric, the look of the sofa
Can be
completely changed. So even that itself is quite a surprise to. So we want the client that this is the thing, or
Sure.
the texture, the softness, everything may change drastically compared to what you have seen if you're ordering something. So best is if you are seeing the piece, liking it as it is, and ordering it in your size, whatever makes most sense.
Correct.
Changing too much of it, you have to be prepared for a surprise.
Surprise.
It is going to be a touch and go. It is not as like you've just ordered out of a notebook and you've ticked up the boxes and it's going to come exactly like that. Because it is a combination of so many things: material, proportion, aesthetics, finish, everything. So if you're fiddling with that too much, it's a risk.
Absolutely. Bang on point. That's what we have also seen across the board, and a lot of people have wasted a lot of money. And what it does, it actually delays the project a lot. All this confusion creates a lot of delay, cost over.
Mistrust.
For example, a lot of people give example के Sunlink में हमको $15 का $20 का मिलता है, आप you're selling here. But what I think a lot of people fail to understand is common sense. Okay, $15 translates somewhere around into 1,500, 2,000 rupees, right? Now, if someone thinks that how can someone build, भले mass scale production or whatever आप किलो के भाव से भी लो, how can someone use stainless steel, put upholstery, put wood foaming, make the chair structuring, logistically transport it, and deliver it to you for $20 or $15, and the quality will be very good.
Exactly. So when we always tell a client, if it sounds too good to be true, then it is cautious about what you're getting. Sometimes they have this like a FOMO, my so and so bought so and so at this price and so at this price, and they went here and they got this. I mean, I always have a very cautionary sort of take on that, because I said, please make sure what they have got, have they used it for a few months, year or two or whatever. Have you seen the product yourself? Are you happy with what has come? Very often, we've gone and we picked up stuff, like as you say, literally from there with the client, and picked up some stuff. It's come here in 6 months. The arm has come out. This has come out. That has come out. Now, we have just bought it off a showroom, liking it and picking it up. And that's that. Now, there is no after sales service. There's nobody you can call and say that this has happened. Please take it back, exchange it, nothing. So you have to sort of write it off, that this is the risk I'm going to take. If it works, it works. It doesn't work, too bad. That's the chance you take on that product or that shopping. But always think that clients have to be a little bit more sort of educated that how do these price out? What are the basic materials that go into it? Where can you compromise on it? Where you can't compromise on it? And if it comes at that particular price, really what are you going to get, which is going to be something that will last you the life of your house or not? So that's a bit of, I think, where I think a designer also will have to play some kind of a role where to guide them. Because see, when you show them a design presentation, you show them some design, you show them something, and then we get into a conversation, how do you want to source it out, which actually we do quite earlier on the project. As soon as we take on a site, we try and get into this conversation about, overall, how do you want to approach the site? Do you want to get it all done in locally, you want to get it customized, you want to do it off-site, on-site, imported, whatever. So once that conversation happens and we are all on the same page as far as that, okay, I don't mind trying this sourcing, I don't mind trying that sourcing, then we try and work our heads towards that, and we make the presentation designing suited to that particular thing, where I know that he'll be able to maintain it. He has a house help. He will be able to. So based on the lifestyle, based on the look and feel, it's a final home or is it your just started home? So a lot of factors which help us guiding the decision of how to educate them, where do we show them. Having just showed them 100 designs of anything and they've seen 20,000 designs of the net or whatever, to really steer them that, for your house with this budget, with this timeline, with this kind of spacing, go with this. So if you're strong enough and your relation with the client is good enough and you're able to sort of give them a clarity that this is the route you should take, keeping all these factors in mind. And if they're on board, then I think it's a good start, because then you can at least steer them to the right direction, because we want them to spend the right amount of money for the right amount of things.
Correct.
Not just spend extravagantly on one thing and then have no budget for anything. Because for us, we would like to keep an overall budget of the whole interiors, right? Because this is one segment. We have to try and balance out everything. Right till the last painting is put up, right till the last curtain is put up. So we try and guide them right from the beginning. See, this is the breakup of the budgeting. Then this is in this budget. These are your options in terms of sourcing furniture, lights, etc. So once that clarity is maintained, and but you do get clients where they say, no, my neighbor is gone or this one is gone, and let's try this, let's try that. So we say, of course, we have to give them that one sort of, to show them whether it's right or wrong. Of course, we'll go through that route and explore that option, give them some basic costing or some design presentation based on that thing. But I think that's where our experience honestly comes into play, because we've dealt with clients all over many years, vendors over many years, and designs and budgets of varying from over many years. So we have a little better sense of guiding them that, based on this may be more suitable to you.
Sure.
And then, it's a process of give and take, and then hopefully if then that process becomes easier for us to guide them through the whole thing. Otherwise, after a point, they're totally lost, because, obviously, it's not right or wrong. It's just that they've not been exposed to, or they're doing the house for the first time or after a long time. So there is a bit of gap between their expectation and what they're seeing and what is actually achievable with their space. So I think a strong designer and client bond will go over those bumps and hopefully pave the way to better understanding that this is what we would suggest you.
And I would like to focus on the client and designer relationship and the importance of that. But before that, also from what you said, there is a new nice buzzword amongst customers. भाई मैं importer हूँ, मेरा भाई importer है, मेरे चाचा भतीजा कोई ना कोई importer निकलता है. In fact, what has happened is, interestingly, after IT, importing is becoming a new career for everyone, especially for home buyers. Every second day, we have someone who says कि भाई मैं importer हूँ, मैं तो दुनिया जानता हूँ और 40% डिस्काउंट मिलता है. And what I sometimes get surprised to see the mindset that yes, okay, negotiation is a very innate trait of our civilization and culture. We Indians are very good at finding value. There's no harm in that. But in hindsight, when you only look at price of everything and value or understanding of nothing, is when you are actually going to lose out a lot more money.
Sure.
For example, we tell our customers on the point of after sales service that yes, we are making money, right? Over and above whatever you're paying, but that money, you should see it as your insurance policy. Because today, when you get a sofa, number one, to get it produced, get it through 4,000 miles, get it cleared through customs, and safely delivering you to at home, it's a very daunting task. It's a very risky, very effortful task that people fail to understand. Secondly, that when you have a high value product, say you bought a 4 lakh, 5 lakh rupee furniture or any home item like lights also.
Right.
And if you have an after sales support for that, it gives you a lot of peace, because hota hi hai. These all products are made by humans. Even the best of companies have defects, have problems, logistics mein kuch na kuch ho jata hai. And then also to have capable vendors, right? Because in India, we lack the ecosystem to even do a simple PVD coating.
Yes.
मतलब हो जाएगा, but not the kind of finishing that you have
people
paid
expect.
for or you were expecting. So we tell people that when you are researching, you need to take a holistic view and not just discounts, because furniture is not just another product at your home के चलो लगा दिया अब भूल गए. It is something you're going to live for next 5 to 10 years of your life. You're going to sleep on it. It affects your health. It affects your overall. Apart from aesthetics, it really affects how you be at home.
Absolutely.
And so, researching about the vendor, about the manufacturing process, understanding the materials itself, because a lot of people come and tell me, अरे मुझे तो XYZ जगह पे 30,000 में मिल रहा है, अब 1.5 लाख में क्यों भेज दूँ? तो मतलब of course there is a difference. There's a difference in fabric, foam, steel, and the when you take this same product to Europe, that becomes 3.5-4 lakh rupees. So it's not that anyone's scam, but there is a difference which the customer doesn't understand, and the only comparison is that we are importer, we have some China factory contact, and we get 40%, failing to understand that what quality is going to be delivered to you. And hota kya hai, sir, that all the customers who went to China and had a bad experience will never share it.
They are sort of fighting for, they're losing face on India.
Means every second or third furniture related video that now I see on Instagram is, oh, we have China factory come, very cheap furniture, good furniture, सब X factory पे बात करते हैं, but the landed cost, the logistical challenges. Have you ever faced any issue of that, or means not with you, but maybe someone where they ordered something,
Yes,
and what was delivered was either different or completely different, like, not as per the specs?
Sure. So there are a few challenges when you are just picking up furniture from there, as you're saying, to any unverified vendor or something like that. First of all, is when you have a verified vendor who is working in Bombay, in our place where we can interact with him, get the whole logistics and the whole thing. There's a comfort in the sense that till the furniture arrives and actually placed in your house, you have somebody who can decide. After sales service is also a big issue. If there is something wrong, I want to order a few more pieces matching to it, whatever it is. I can get the full on services. I want to do part customization. I want to do part ready made pieces. I want to, do a hybrid sort of a thing, as I was saying. Even things like, is it going to go up my lift? How am I going to load it? How the furniture is going to come up? Unless a vendor who has worked here, worked with spaces here, how it will be actually arriving at your house, how are you going to take it up, all of that. So having a vendor who is aware of all these things, see, one thing is just importing it, but the whole logistics of the cost of getting it to your house, whatever transport from the dock to your place, from there to up, all of that. So we need, ideally we would look for, or the idea was to get a client to say that please get somebody who is going to give you end-to-end service.
Correct.
You look at something there, selected something here, whatever it is, but it has to come to your house in the way you expect it to, with the quality you expect it to have, and with the finish that you are asking for. So rest all is all a gray zone. So whoever, very often we've had stuff like this where we've ordered pieces and it's, well, come different is one thing, it can't be lifted up, or it's too big, too small, then how to take it up through a crane. This responsibility will have to be taken up by somebody. Absolutely. So who's going to take that responsibility? Please don't expect that the designer will fall into it. Just to warn you, because we have selected the furniture. Beyond that, somebody will have to make sure that comes.
But the consumers expect you to take the responsibility, unfortunately.
So then we tell them, however, that please be aware that VA can select, guide you. End of the day, the decision, if you've taken that you are going to go with an unverified vendor or somebody like that, then that's, and of course he may tell you this, but by the time it lands up to your place, something goes wrong, doesn't land up in the same way that you have imagined, all that cost is going to add up to your final thing. Now, one-off piece you buy, one small chair, something that's fine. But if you're saying I'm going to get my whole consignment like that, then that's a risk that tolerance you will have to bear. Whether you think it is, worth saving those, whatever is the difference between a proper vendor and somebody there. Because increasingly things to transport, to get up and all, they're quite a challenge, It's not an easy.
The doorways are small.
Doorways are small, your, whether the staircase or the service lifts are not that big. So whatever it is, then finally it has to come to your house. So who's going to guarantee, warranty, all of that in the right, place and time and this thing. What about warranty? What about, anything goes wrong or it's not come in the right way? Then, I mean, nobody's going to attend to you that.
And what you said actually is a very small thing,
No.
but very important thing is how will the product be delivered to your home?
Yeah.
Let's cut all China this discussion. Let's come to a very simple point कि building में नीचे से घर तक लाना है.
Right.
So many places we have seen people ordered, and unfortunately it was so congested कि वो तोड़ के भी you could not take. Ultimately we had to change the entire sofa and design because it could not go. It was a 44 floor building. You have no other way to put it inside, right? So then we learned, and what SOISU then started doing is before we accept final money, once the quotation is negotiated, we have a deal. And before we take money, we have a team which is sent to the site visit. And then it is communicated to the production to pack it in a certain way, because ultimately it translates into huge savings and damage and time at the time of delivery. Because today we all know it's a headache even to lift ka permission lo, isko mail karo. Then, there are local labor and unions who will come to trouble you. So when a good team comes together and they plan it through, what actually you are paying, and actually not even paying more. I have done the maths many times because वो Indian customs में आते, what they are quoting there is FOB prices, which does not include your customs, does not clear your clearing charges, CNF charges, वो सब hidden charges वहाँ पे. Now what will happen is they will take one small rule, like for example, some guy बिचारा he imported carpets because there was nice price and the design and finish are also good. Now, what he didn't know was there is a certificate called ASODine certificate that is required. Now, sometimes people say we can manage, but what if sometimes it's not managed? What happened is the customs cut his, uska 3-4 lakh ka carpet was cut and it was sent to the lab because the officer was not willing to budge. He said that, okay, if this chemical is not there, I will pass this. Ultimately, he had to pay 2.5 lakh rupees penalty. They didn't focus on damage-free period at port. So 7 days cross हो गया तो per day 50,000 he had to pay as damage charges plus carpet खराब हो गया वो अलग. So what you say is that also delivering it safely at cost is not easy. So ये सब hidden cost, and when it comes here and gets stuck here, you have no option. You are at all that ransom.
After having spent so much time, effort, and money on getting it till Bombay or whatever your port, and then you will. I mean, without any this, you'll have to pay the extra, whatever it is. At that point, there is no margin that you left with. You'll just have to bear that cost and get it at whatever cost your house is.
Similarly, we try to apprise the market of a risk called BIS. This is a new rule called as Bureau of Indian Standards, which the Indian government has implemented for all the goods imported to India. It's not related to furniture. Furniture of India's total import is very fraction of the percentage, right? So this rule came out 2-3 years back, and the rule is that any company trying to export to India needs to have a certain tested standard for that product that suits the Indian quality and standards. For example, in electric products, the wattage, the output, input, because there is a risk of short circuit, there is a risk of fire. So many things are there. But the government has been giving relaxation for a year or two. But with this BIS policy, there is a very good chance that the import might come to complete standstill by Feb and March. And how I say this, because if anyone looks up the internet and just sees what has happened to some of the steel consignments like fasteners, steel, or plywood, almost 500 to 1,000 containers have been stuck for companies like large corporates who have far larger resources. Now, if something like that, as simple and important commodity like that, could be held in customs, what value does luxury product like furniture have? What reason does government have, to forego it? And then people say, "नहीं नहीं वो तो manage हो जाएगा." But what people don't see, there's a cost to managing that. It's not going to happen free of cost. No one is so good in the world कि वो problem को ऐसे. So as you said, the people are not also aware about a lot of compliances and a lot of newer agents who are new to business, like just been what all this has started in 25. I think start of 25, we have seen a lot of new people going there who are not giving this information to the customer in the interest to book and confirm their orders. And a lot of customers are not coming out with these stories. Only, the select few who have achieved or managed to get it successfully are sharing. But what about those who have suffered?
as a designer or as a when we're advising a client, we'd always again steer them towards vendors, etc., who have all this compliance in place, who have the certification in place, because especially with corporates or with something, they don't want the hassle of getting stuck at the customs or whatever it is. Nobody would want that whole effort of going through and clearing all that out. So I think the long term impact will be that you will have to eventually upgrade to BIS certified vendor.
Yes,
It
absolutely.
will have some impact on pricing, but I mean, so be it, because obviously the quality of the basic products, etc., all will be up to a certain standard. There'll be some structural integrity. There'll be some minimum standard required for all the parts, components of the furniture, etc., whatever we are seeing. So I would say definitely for the better. And if you have your paperwork in place, and if the vendor has got all of it set, that he's going to guaranteeing us that this product or whatever will be imported with the certification in place, I mean, definitely we would advise the client that you have to go with somebody, not try and buy somebody who is not aware of all these rules and regulations. We'll have to go with somebody experienced who has the knowledge and the wherewithal to clear this all with your certification or with the required clearances.
Absolutely. So now, sir, coming to my last question and the most important one. As you correctly said, see, now when we had this conversation, you are giving me true perspective that yes, China is an answer, but not in all the cases.
Yes.
There are risks,
Yes.
and there is a way to counter that risk.
Yes.
But all this only comes with someone like you who has years of experience
Yes.
and knowledge.
Yes.
But unfortunately, in past 18 months, what we have seen, a lot of newer people, I wouldn't say they are designers. In fact, a lot of agents are proclaiming that they are designers, right? Unfortunately, like doctor has MBBS ka certificate. In designing, there is no serious accreditation where we can classify that which person is suitable, because what I am giving you, sir, is my lifetime of fortune. My home, where my family is going to stay.
Responsibility.
And the problem is that it's very hard for even customer to, justify or categorize experienced players and newbies. Newbies are these fancy players जिनको लगता है China से कुछ भी ले आओ, सस्ता ले आओ, and the quotation is endless. Means I have seen in hotels, there is a famous hotel called Park Lane. A lot of Indians would have visited. Sir, hotel में there is no food menu. There is a furniture menu. $500 में ये सोफा, $600 में ये सोफा, and नीचे when you go to reception, on the reception के बाजू में there is Vijay home delivery services. I think yes.
There and
With the level of marketing and agents do. So what that does, it confuses a lot of people. And how could you give us some pointers for our customers or the people, that how do you segment freshers or agents acting like architects from actually a experienced, seasoned interior designer who will help you source right from China?
You're talking from a client's perspective or
Yeah.
from a vendor's perspective?
No. From a client, how does a client verify, or what are some of the checks they should do before appointing a designer?
True. Okay. Fair.
It's a very interesting, because everyone can make Instagram reels.
Right.
सबके पास catalog आ जाते हैं.
Everybody has
There
a-
was a time when brands used to only give catalog to few.
Yeah.
आज तो बर्फी के जैसे बांटते हैं.
Yeah.
So what happens is, what our teams are communicating is same communicated by someone sitting in a bathroom and using WhatsApp to share those. But for a normal customer, it's very hard to verify कि भाई who, and then ultimately India being a price sensitive, everyone boils down to कि भाई fees कितना होगा या price क्या होगा. So how does one?
I think the way to sort of handle it from a customer point of view is, if I'm looking to hire a designer and I'm looking to see what kind of what impact he'll have on our listings. Obviously, you do a lot of referencing, cross references. You get, usually in our case, it's always been where most of the cases been where we've been referred to by a client who refers you to the other one. The client himself has come to us several times for a house, then office, then back to a house, back to office, whatever. So first thing is you get references, you get referenced by another previous client. that gives them some comfort. Oh, he's done so and so's house,
Correct.
whatever. Second is they've seen your work. So very often we get clients where we've just finished a house or something, and then somebody's come for a housewarming or whatever.
Yeah.
Now they've seen their places, and again they come back to us. Would you do something for us? I honestly am not so much of a social media person, so I'm not so much on social media. So we don't do that much of marketing on social media, etc. We just have a presence there. That's about it. But having said that, so most of our clients have come through referrals, have come through long association with most of our clients are 25, 30 years old, who we worked with them for years and years and years and years, whether they're builders or whether they're individual homeowners or whatever it is. So I think for a client to come to decision with a designer is, I think there has to be some design maturity, first of all, because what looks good on a Pinterest page or on a reference or just an image, finally, does it suit your lifestyle? Does it suit your living? Does it suit your way you are functioning in the house? There are a lot of factors which honestly comes from a bit of experience, bit of understanding what the client wants, needs, and then we can approach that designing with a certain sense of maturity. To just design something which just looks good, I mean, it's not the way to go, according to me. Client has to be more aware that, what is the, one is to look, how does it work? How am I going to be in the planning of it? As in, how does the house work or the office work in terms of the layout, the planning of the layout, all of that. That becomes the backbone on which the aesthetics are just the skin on the top of the things, But if your thing is not planned well, there is no maturity in the way you design. We are also, advising clients on the layout, not just on the aesthetics, etc. But having understood that आपके दो sons हैं, 3 bedrooms there, how are you going to divide the rooms? Which should share what? Should you have an attached toilet here or not? So there are many, many nitty-gritties which will only come with a sense of maturity, having dealt with a client for many years, having dealt with several clients for many years, that you can guide them that, for your layout, this is the way to go. See, aesthetics to me comes several layers down the road.
Correct.
First is to understand the client, get the whole layout in response to their requirements, in response to their lifestyle, their budget, their timelines, the space that is available. Then you come to layering it with aesthetics, material, furniture, all of that. So unless you've got that, the backbone of it right, anything will look good. End of the day, you put anything good looking will look good only. So looking good is not the success of the project.
Correct.
How does it work? Does it agree with your lifestyle? Does it agree with you as a person? Are you fitting in that scenario? Are you looking out of place in that interior that we've created for you? Are you comfortable in that? Is it working to enhance your lifestyle or your working or your environment? Then I would say it's a success. Otherwise, looking good, so anything you put out of, get 5 nice pieces of furniture, it is always going to look good. So there's no doubt about that.
But can you use it is another question.
That can't be a parameter to choose a designer, only parameter to choose. Of course, as a designer, you are supposed to deliver projects which have to look smashing, but that's a given. But beyond that, you have to see beyond the aesthetics and see the working, the actual layout, what thought has been put into the planning of the place. That I think should be more. We're doing architecture, interiors both. So even when a builder comes to us that I have this plot and now you can fit a 2 BHK, 3 BHK, 4 BHK, and any plot we can give it. But having really spent time on the layout, how it works, how have you made best use of the space, best use of the view? So many factors come into place. So just fitting anything is, it's okay. It is the bare minimum you can do. But then to really enhance that with a good thought to the planning, etc., that's what will elevate the project or the space to another level. So to me, aesthetics is second, third on the line. I would say first is thought process, planning, etc., maturity of design, or how you show that in your final product. That will, I think, should get conveyed first.
Absolutely. So, would it be right to say, sir, that anyone who wants to find an experienced designer first needs to develop their own understanding of the process and of different aspects? Because when people present to them different pitches, a lot of people are going to present to you. You are able to verify the authenticity from the information they are giving you. For example, if someone took a base understanding of this entire process, by aesthetics with ergonomics is important, sourcing related to BOQ is important, layout is more important than aesthetics. Quality material is better than price, because ultimately in long run it's cheaper. Once the person gauges that understanding, and when he meets you in an office, I think it becomes flawlessly easy for you to convince, and also for them to verify that this is the right person for my job.
Absolutely. So I mean, best thing is to obviously meet the designer. Don't just go on some Instagram page and decide that, this looks wow and my house will turn out. And not, it could be a totally different space, totally different, requirement list. Some people want tons of storage. How that will look in the same space. 2 apartments. We've done many spaces where we've done the same building, 4 apartments, 5 apartments. Each one looks different because literally the requirements are so different that seeing something and you try and say, oh, my house will turn out to be the same or my office will turn out to be not. I mean, it may be totally, completely different. So as I that's a good point that you brought up, is that as a client also you must be semi-educated to that extent that we are able to verify and to gauge the proficiency of the designer or the architect who's come to you, ask the right questions, see their layout, see their site, understand some thought process that has gone into it. Just don't go with aesthetics.
In fact, you have AI, ChatGPT. You can just ask him, how do I make a house? What are the important things to? Even if you do that kind of simple research, I think it
gets some basic questions to ask them. And once you've sort of seen that comfort level, when he's able to, when the designer is able to present the thought process that went into designing it, people, I think, as a layman, I think a lot of emphasis put on aesthetics. I just find that a little overreach. I would say to scale back a bit. Aesthetics, if he's a good designer and he's got the experience and the ability, anything will turn out to look good. But some more emphasis on planning, as I said, those actual things that will first make the space work well. Then aesthetics, though, I mean, it's a blend of your taste, his taste, many factors, your budget, everything. So that will figure out the way you want. But this maturity of design or how to treat the space, that can only come from a good, knowledgeable designer. Otherwise, any designer will give you a decently looking house, I'm assuming. I mean, then that's no great shakes in that. But the whole point is to understand a bit of the thought process and to see the maturity of how you're dealing with the space. That you're convinced, the rest is easy going. Because then it's a meeting of your aesthetics with his aesthetics. Then that's a question of, back and forth, convincing the client that what you think will be the best route to go. But clients should be a little bit more aware. I have had clients where they're totally lost. They're doing a house after 15 years, 20 years, and they have no clue in terms of budgeting, sourcing, materials, or anything. They're totally lost. Now, of course, there's a hand holding and we take them, this is what you need to do, this is what you need to decide. But they are lost. They rely a lot on the designer. So I think the responsibility of the designer is immense, especially with a client who's a little lost. You have to be on top of it. You cannot not misguide them, but you cannot very often, I mean, it's not a thing, but very often, things are done to make it look good at the cost of not making it efficient. Or work well or whatever. So that compromise or that trade-off is something a designer should really heavily weigh on. Whether that's
I think for designers, the problem is, sir, see, if we take what I have seen, that this entire process has changed post-COVID.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Before COVID, we didn't have this kind of customization, right? I want to ask you this last again. I said, but I think this is a more showstopper question, right? How did the Pinterest generation came in? Like before COVID, it was not very, rampant of people getting Pinterest designs. Even customization was not so rampant. And as you correctly said in the conversation, experienced designers like you used to work with trusted, proven vendors with the proven designs.
Right.
And that made the entire process very effortless. And the execution was amazing. At the same time, what you correctly said is that Baba, Indian body is very different from Asian and European body.
Right.
So if it just looks good, but if it doesn't work well, means if it's not comfortable,
For
you can't
you.
sleep on it,
Right.
then what's the point of it, right?
True.
So asking you, where do you think this Pinterest generation came in? Because it's a very, very unique phenomena that we have seen in India. This is not seen I have not seen this in any part of the world.
I think, post-COVID, people being at home, that spare time, and then now after that, people have started, using internet or whatever much more than what obviously, pre-COVID, we were not that much with Zoom and whatever else that has happened after COVID. Even laymen have sort of got used to using the internet, using the, web for series of things. One of this is Pinterest or whatever.
Sure.
So very often, more often than not, client only will send us a whole catalog of pictures that we've curated these pictures and please take. So I mean, we have to give cognizance to their so we said, okay, please share. So we'll see what look, feel you're liking, and then we have some sense of. So it is easy. It is helpful in that sense that yes, they've given you some direction to go with. But so very often than not, I think clients are now, they take the forefront and they take the lead in. Okay, I will share some pictures with you and, we will show you what we have liked as a family. We will discuss and then, give you our selected sort of look and feel.
Actually, what started as a referencing process has now become aspirational. Yeah,
it's become a design process.
It's become their wish.
Yes.
And what another problem, people it creates for you, it's not for us, is that you have not figured out what would that design cost you, and can it be also sourced. Right?
Yes.
Some of the finishes that we see in those photos,
yes.
and a lot of them are now AI driven. They're not even real.
Yes, they're not even real.
मतलब in my 3-4 podcasts, I've always given this example कि one day a customer came and said, "Sir, मेरे को एक पीकॉक वाला सोफा चाहिए." बोला, "सर किसने बनाया?" बोला, "AI ने बनाया." बोला, "सर तो AI को बोलो बना के दे देखो, हम पीकॉक कहाँ से पकड़ के लाए?"
So I can a little bit of what I said earlier, the design maturity of the maturity of the designer or whatever in terms of gauging the client's perception, whether he's just getting overawed by what he's seeing on the image, whether it translates into actual, whether it not can it be done or not done, whether it's practical to do something like that, what he's seeing in a thing. So that's, again, I think as a designer, you have that responsibility of guiding the client, making him aware of the pitfalls or advantages of what he has chosen, what he is liking in terms of a look and feel or material or finishes or whatever. A large role to be played by the designer. He has to be strong enough and convincing enough to steer them in the right direction. As a client, of course, I'm going with you with open arms. I mean, with just an open mind, and you have to now guide me whether I'm going in the right direction or not. Which then you have to come up tops and take it with the client and convince him that this is what you think as a designer, that this is the route or this is the design process to be followed.
So if you have to give a process to a customer or a new home buyer, is that, first, please do your research.
Yes.
Your research and your knowledge will help you select or identify the right designer for the job.
Yes.
And then once you have found the right person, I think 50% of your job is already done. Exactly. Because then them recommending you to source from India, China, Afghanistan, wherever you want, the designs, aesthetic, everything is taken care of it. So that solves the entire process. And then if the client is a little more balanced and just not focused on aesthetics and price, and also on quality and comfort and logistics as well, execution ability, that I think can make the entire process more efficient. But with this, Jayesh, thank you so much. You gave wonderful insights on this entire China shopping spree that is going on. And yes, it could be beneficial, but it could also be a scam, or it could be a lot more things, and which I think you have given a very good light to people, a very good light, because there's serious money involved in this.
Yes.
I think a lot of newcomers are complacent of or don't understand the responsibility of committing and giving hope to new home buyers who spent a fortune, life's hard-earned money behind this home.
Sure.
So thank you so much.
Pleasure.
And I hope you also enjoyed the conversation.
Nice.
And I hope to do more and more podcasts with you, because I have seen over years your experience, your thoughts. Even if I think the most genius thoughts are the simplest thoughts.
Absolutely. Yeah, you don't have to really.
You don't have to reinvent the wheel.
Reinvent the wheel, exactly. So start logically, I think start balanced and then take a hit. That's the way.